Did you know that professional darts players should give each other at least 2 handshakes or fist bumps per game? That's more handshakes than most of us get in a year. But sometimes things can get a little heated on the hockey, and players might refuse to give each other handshakes or fist bumps, which is a sure sign that they've lost respect for their rival. Today on DartsFlix, we're diving into the juiciest moments where players have refused to give each other the old shake and bump. And just to be clear, we're not talking about matches that took place during the pandemic, because we all know that shaking hands is a big no-no these days. But before we get into the drama, let me just remind you to hit that bullseye and subscribe to our channel. And now, back to the action. It all started when Dutch player Michael van Gerwen and Yellowclad were the best of friends. They even appeared together in a cringy segment before the 2006 International Darts Open. But things took a dark turn in 2012 when Casa was accused of sending explicit messages to a 15-year-old family friend of Van Gerwen's. Later that year, Casa was fined and ordered to do community service. Their first televised meeting after the incident was in the quarterfinals of the 2013 European Championships, and there was no handshake. Van Gerwen eventually won the game 10-7 and celebrated right in Casa's face. But the best part? There was still no handshakes after the game. They've played each other several times since then, but they still haven't shaken hands. In fact, in the 2016 Euro Tour game, they were packing away their darts right in front of each other, but they refused to even acknowledge each other. Talk about a cold shoulder. So, it turns out that friendship and darts don't always go hand in hand, or in this case, hand in fist bump. Dutch player Michael van Gerwen and Yellowclad Carson used to be the best of pals, but that all went down the drain when Carson sent some explicit photo messages to a family friend of Van Gerwen's. Ouch! Talk about a bullseye to the heart of their friendship. Their first televised meeting after this incident was as tense as an uncooked sausage, with no handshake and a lot of awkward clapping. They've played each other since, but it's likely they're allergic to each other's hands. In fact, in a 2016 game, they were packing away their darts side by side and still refused to even acknowledge each other. I guess the only thing they're throwing these days is shade. The rivalry between Jel Clausen, nicknamed the Cobra, and Michael van Gerwen, also known as Mighty Mike, has been simmering for years. In 2019, Carlsen was the second highest ranked Dutch player and was expected to play alongside Van Gerwen in the World Cup. However, Carlsen's management team dashed fans' hope by releasing a statement saying he was unavailable due to personal commitments. Many fans speculated that Van Gerwen had pressured the PDC not to select Clausen to avoid any potential drama. The tension between the two players came to a head at the 2020 PDC World Championship, where they ignored each other after their match. Van Gerwen spoke publicly about his feelings towards Clausen, saying, "Of course we had a past, and I hate him. So I don't want to lose to him. That made it really difficult for me."
Of course we had a past, and so I hate him, so I don't want to lose to him, and that made it really difficult for me.
He also revealed that the pressure was on him because Clausen was one of the most online players, and he felt like he was going on a Halloween trip, adding to the pressure. Despite the bad blood between them, both players continued to compete at the highest level and thrill fans with their impressive skills on the hockey. Will they ever bury the hatchet and move on from their bitter rivalry? Only time will tell. Next, we have the notorious feud between Eric Bristow and Jockey Wilson. Bristow was known as the Crafty Cockney and was a 5-time world champion, while Wilson was a 2-time world champion from Scotland. The two first met in the final in the 1983 World Championship, with Bristow coming out on top. However, it was their offstage interactions that really set the tone for their rivalry. Bristow was known for his brash personality and quick wit, while Wilson was notoriously quiet and reserved. Bristow would often make fun of Wilson's weight, calling him jockey fat, and making jokes about his diet. Wilson, for his part, would often respond by ignoring Bristow or giving him the cold shoulder. The tension between the two boiled over on numerous occasions, with Bristow once storming off the stage during a match and Wilson refusing to shake his hand after the game. However, the two eventually buried the hatchet and became friends later in life. Next, we have the clash between Phil Taylor and Raymond van Barneveld. Taylor is widely regarded as one of the greatest darts players of all time, with 16 world championships to his name. Van Barneveld, meanwhile, was a 5-time world champion from the Netherlands. The two met in several high-profile matches throughout their careers, with tensions rising each time they faced off. Taylor was known for his ruthless competitiveness and would often gloat after victories, while Van Barneveld was more laid back and relaxed. The two clashed offstage as well, with Taylor accusing Van Barneveld of cheating and Van Barneveld responding by calling him a sore loser. The rivalry reached its peak at the 2007 World Championship when Taylor defeated Van Barneveld in the final after a tense and grueling match. The two exchanged heated words afterwards, with Van Barneveld accusing Taylor of being unsportsmanlike and Taylor responding by telling him to shut up and go home. The two have since made amends, with Van Barneveld retiring from the sport in 2019 and Taylor moving into commentary and coaching. Also, we have the feud between Michael van Gerwen and Gary Anderson. Van Gerwen is a 3-time world champion from the Netherlands, while Anderson is a 2-time world champion from Scotland. The two have met in several high-profile matches, with each victory becoming a point of pride for the winner. Van Gerwen is known for his confident and aggressive style, while Anderson is more laid back and relaxed. The tension between the two reached a boiling point in 2018, when they met in the semi-finals of the World Championship. The match was marred by controversy, with Van Gerwen accusing Anderson of trying to distract him by walking around the stage and making noise during his throws. Anderson, for his part, accused Van Gerwen of being a sore loser and making excuses for his defeat. The two have continued to clash since then, with each victory becoming a matter of pride for the winner. However, they have also shown a mutual respect for each other's skills and have been known to share a drink after a game. Their most recent meeting was like two people pretending to be ghosts. They kept blanking each other, just like a white sheet over a person. The 2022 PDC Europe Super League in Germany was the perfect opportunity for Florian Hempel to hold his tour card, and for Nico Springer to have his Ollie Polly debut, like a kid in a candy store. The match was held in a small room with a small crowd, making it as quiet as a graveyard. Every small sound could be heard, including the players' whispers. The players shook hands before the game started, but it seemed more like a spooky handshake, fitting the Halloween spirit. Throughout the game, both players got annoyed at each other, like two angry ghosts haunting the same room. In the fourth leg, Hempel was slower than a snail to take his darts out of the board, and in the next leg, Springer over-celebrated at 140 and accused Hempel of walking too close to him, like they were trying to haunt each other. Later on in the game, Hempel got annoyed about the same thing and seemed to be the grumpier ghost. Finally, Hempel hit a double 10 to win 10-8 and let out a huge celebration, like a loud ghostly roar. The players did not shake hands, they probably just waved goodbye like friendly ghosts, and Hempel walked to the other side of the room to continue celebration, like a victorious ghost haunting the losers. It was the Euro Tour in 2022, and the two players, let's call them Flo and Nico, were about to face off in a crucial match. This was their first time playing against each other, and they didn't exactly hit it off. Before the match even started, they had already exchanged some nasty looks, and Flo's darts had accidentally hit Nico's foot during warm-up. The match began, and everything seemed to be going smoothly at first, but as soon as the fourth leg rolled around, things started to get a bit tense. Flo was taking forever to retrieve his darts from the board, and Nico was getting impatient. Then, in the next leg, Nico let out a loud woohoo after scoring a 140, which Flo took as a taunt. The tension kept building throughout the game, with both players getting more and more annoyed at each other. Finally, Flo hit the winning shot and let out a triumphant scream, but when he turned to shake Nico's hand, he found that Nico had already left the stage. Confused, Flo went backstage to look for Nico, but he was nowhere to be found. Later, he learned that Nico had gone to the bathroom to cry. Poor guy. In another match, Michael van Gerwen and Danny Nopad faced off at the 2021 World Grand Prix. Michael was up to his usual antics, trying to distract Danny by standing too close to him at the Oki. But Danny wasn't having any of it. He beat Michael 2-0, and when Michael tried to shake his hand, Danny just stared him down. Later, Michael tried to explain himself, saying that he never uses tactics on the Oki, but no one believed him, and the internet went wild with accusations of cheating. Even his mom got in on the action, tweeting in his defense. In the end, Danny apologized for staring Michael down, but he still felt like he had the moral victory. And Michael, well, let's just say he learned his lessons about playing dirty. The 2022 Belgian Darts Open was Neil Donovan's 5th European Tour appearance, and he hadn't exactly been killing it at these events. In fact, between his 4 European tournaments, he'd only managed to win a single game. Not exactly a stellar record. But at this year's Belgian Open, Donovan finally managed to clinch his second win on the tour, setting up a rematch against none other than Peter Wright in the second round. Throughout the game, whenever Donovan hit a big shot, he celebrated like he'd just won the lottery, much to Wright's annoyance. After hitting double 12 in the 10th leg to send the match to a sudden dead leg, Wright declined Donovan's handshake offer, clearly fed up of his excessive celebrations. But in the end, it was Donovan who had the last laugh, hitting double 9 to win the leg and the match, much to his own over-the-top delight. The two eventually shook hands, with Donovan admitting that he'd talked things out with Wright after the game. And speaking of hitting the bullseye, don't forget to subscribe for more content. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.